Creamer. I'm going to take you through using an online design tool which is called BeFunky. It's really easy to get to. It's just befunky.com. It does a whole bunch of different things. You can edit photos with it. You can make collages, but today we're going to be looking at the design aspect of it, which you can see up here. The website is pretty easy to use actually, and it is accessible by Windows and Mac users, which is always a plus. It also, I'm going to use Safari to look at it since I'm on a Mac, but it also works on other web browsers as well. I imagine it would also work with dial-up connections. I just don't think that that it would be as fast, but it should still work. The website itself is pretty easy to use, like I said. The good thing is you don't have to make a login, which is really nice. You just go right to the website, you click what you want to do, you work on your project, and then you can save it to your computer. Unfortunately, I think probably the only problem that I found with the website is the saving tool. I've gotten to the end of my project and I just wasn't able to save it. It says error and it says that it's saved to my desktop, but I can't find it anywhere. So that would be my one complaint about the website. You don't have to create a sign-in, but as you can see over here in the corner, you can sign up. I have it pulled up already up here, the differences of whether or not if you pay for it or don't pay for it. As you can see, there's nothing too different. It's basically just additional like effects, graphics, different things that you can use if you pay for the Plus edition. So it just kind of gives you more to work with, but the basic, which is just not having a login and just going to the website, it really does supply you with enough of what you need, in my opinion. The only other difference in separate from those is that if you pay for it, you don't have to have the ads around the side, and you can work in full screen workspace, and your resolution is better. Now, like I said, none of those are really huge differences. I didn't find any of those things to be too annoying while I was working with it, but it is a plus if you decide that it's something that you're going to use all the time and you would want to make it worth it. Now, as far as using the website, I'm just going to go through here with you and show you how to do it. So I'm going to click on this designer tab up here, which is going to open up all of these templates. And you can see over on the side these ads that if you want to remove them, you can upgrade to Plus, and that's one of the perks. So as you see here, it gives you all of your templates over on the side here. They give you an example poster that you could make with this picture and these phrases over here on the side. In my opinion, as a Spanish teacher, I found this to be extremely helpful. A lot of Spanish learning is learning communication and conversational phrases, things that we say in English that you would want to be able to transfer over to Spanish. So things like invitations, menus, thank you cards, that you learn these phrases and you learn these sentences in Spanish, and this would be a really awesome kind of different way to put those things into practice. So say you learn a Spanish menu and you have all these words and you learn vocabulary, and then instead of having your normal create it maybe up with paper and markers menu, Spanish menu, students could come on here. They could make one digitally, kind of change things up. Another thing that I really like is this idea of posters, and that's kind of what we're going to look at today. So if you click on posters, it kind of adds a new element to poster projects. Instead of making them just with poster boards and markers in a classroom, it's a little bit more exciting. You can make them digitally. So one thing that I had thought of in my lesson planning was for creating posters having to do with different festivals, different food-related festivals in Spanish-speaking countries. And I just think this would be a really awesome way to create them online rather than hard copies. It would just kind of be a little more fun for the students. And so you can see here where it says free in the bottom corner, These are the ones that come with your basic, just not having to log in. Down here further you see the plus, which is what you would get if you pay for your membership. So like I said before, I personally think that having these two choices really, it does the trick. You don't need to have the plus, but again, if it's something that you're using a lot, it would definitely be beneficial. So it's pretty easy to use. I'm just going to click on this poster that I want to try. It gives me a closer up view of it. So I'm going to click select template. And so then here it is, and this is where I work with it. And so as you can see down here along the bottom, it gives me my zoom in and zoom out so that I can zoom in to work with it more. So to start off with my poster, I'm going to click onto the back picture, which if I click onto it, it highlights this whole back picture for me. And since I'm gonna make a poster about this festival called La Tomatina, which is in Spain, and it's a tomato throwing festival. So I don't want this background. I'm gonna click over here where it says replace image. And when I click that, it brings up, let's wait a second. And there we go, it brings up all of my files on my computer, and I've already taken some time to download to my desktop a picture that I wanted to use. So I'm going to click that here. And there it is, pretty simple. It replaced my background picture, and it replaced it with this tomato picture, which would be perfect for my poster. And then if I click on this white box, I can adjust this to how I want it to look. I can use my arrow keys to move it around. It's a little easier than moving it with my mouse. It just gives me more, it's easier to work with. So again, I can zoom in and zoom out and adjust it how I please. And then if I zoom in again to work on the text, since this is about a film festival and I don't want that, I'm going to click a picture, and if I just click backspace or delete on my keyboard, it gets rid of it. Easy as that. So then I can go in and start editing it, and so if I click on it, and I can backspace it, and I can make it to what I'm writing about. So in my case, I'm going to be writing about La Tomatina. So I just type it in, and then I'm going to highlight it over here on my left side. It gives me my fonts, my size, my color. I'm going to click color, and I'm actually going to make this red. And so there it changes the color. Again, you can see it's pretty easy. I want to change my size. I'm just going to type in 200%. Let's see, that might be a little too big. There we go. And then again, I can just use my arrow keys to put it where I'd like it. And then if I go to film festival, I want to erase this, and I'm going to put the location, which is Valencia, España. So again, this would be a really cool way for my students to kind of change up the everyday activities that they do, just make it a little different and have a more digital, use technology a little bit more. My date, I'm going to change my date. And I can just move that where I want it. And then all of this down here I don't want, so I'm just going to click on it, click delete, backspace on my computer. It's as simple as that. It's a pretty fun website to use. It is easy. There is an extensive help section. If you go up here in this upper right hand corner and click on this and you're having trouble, you can click this help button and it takes you to a bunch of frequently asked questions. So that's a nice little plus too, and it's not only for paying members. So then the only other real thing that's beneficial to know how to do is over here on the left hand side. This T is how you add a text box, and so see when I click that, this text box popped up, and again I can zoom in to see it more, and I can type in my text box maybe I want to type a description of the event, and I can type that down here. And it's as easy as that. And then if I want to write more, so now that I wrote that, I can highlight it and go back over here to the left side. I want it centered, so I can center it. And this just says that it's a festival that they celebrate every year on the last Wednesday in August, and it begins at 10 in the morning. Change my font size. I can adjust how it's written. My color, I want there to be no, I don't want the letters to be outlined, so I'm going to click this button up here, which makes the letters not outlined, but unfortunately it was written in white, so now I have to go to my color, and maybe I'll make this red too. And there's that. So then I can zoom out to see it a little better. And now obviously if I'm having my students do this, I could have them be a little more detailed, make them maybe include a bit more of a detailed explanation in here. And so, I mean, it's as simple as that. I've already finished my poster. And this is where the save comes into play. I can click up here and click save. You can also share it to Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Twitter. I guess if you have a class account for any of those, that would be a helpful thing to have. But in this case, I just want to save it. So I would click computer, and then I can save it here. And I can save it to my desktop. But unfortunately, this is where the problem comes into play. It says that I saved it to my desktop, but then again, an error occurred, and I can say that I want it downloaded, but it just doesn't show up anywhere. It's nowhere on my desktop, and it's nowhere on my page. So that is the only negative that I would have to say about this website. I would have to kind of play around with it maybe a little bit more, maybe go into the help section. I tried to do that and find out more details about saving, but I didn't have too much luck. So that's the only thing I would say. Other than that, it's really easy to use. It's quite fun. It changes things up. It definitely allows for creativity. There is only visual and written elements. There's nothing as far as listening goes. And then also as far as collaboration goes, there's not much collaboration as far as being able to go on and edit others or work on it together. You would have to work off of the same device. There is not really a way for grading other than saving it and printing it or something like that. Again, it's for as far as like a teacher being able to go on and look at students from their own computer, that's not really possible. But it is free. You get a good amount of things to work with, even without paying for anything. You can see all these different templates for brochures. If you were doing maybe a travel lesson in class, they could come on and make a brochure. And then lastly, it doesn't really address copyright issues. It says that you have the option to let your work be public. So if you opt out of that, it is all yours and they can't add it anywhere. But if you say that you want it public, the website has the right to then post it and share it with other members. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's easy to use, like I've said many times. It really is fun, and there isn't too much to say about it that isn't beneficial. So that's BeFunky.